Hey Rod, so you asked yesterday about the tutorial for the Dolphin Emulator and trying to get it to work. And basically, when I looked up the specs for the laptop that you said you had, um, this should work. If it doesn't, tell me which games you're trying to play with it, and then I'll see what it runs like for me, and then see if any of the settings are changed. So basically, make sure that it looks all like that. Those ones don't matter so much, but just make sure the audio is set like that. I don't think there's anything. Leave those as they are. Don't change them. But when you go into the graphics, what I've found is if OpenGL or Direct3D 11 aren't working for you, it might be better to try Direct3D 12 if your system will run it. Because what I've found is that Direct3D 12, although it requires a little bit more sometimes to get it to run, it should make it so that all the picture looks clear. Hang on, I'll give you an example. So if I set it to 12, just for the sake of it, from my other phone. Example. That's how clear the picture looks when you load it. But also, if you use Direct3D 11, what I found was that a lot of the menus will end up missing things. So there will be blocks of text missing in Direct3D 11. So there's that. What you can do as well is you can tinker with those. So if your say if the graphics card adapter seems like pulling too much, just try the basic render driver and see what happens. I'm not sure what that will change because I've never had to use it. I always set it to the graphics. But and the other thing that's important would be useful is when you start the game, if you tick this box that says show FPS, you'd be able to know how many frames it's running at. So you'd be able to see if it's lagging, how much it's lagging by. Oh, and when you set the enhancements, only change that if you're gonna stream it and you're set like my streaming output is set to 1280 by 720. Then I'd probably set it to that because I only want it 2x native. Although sometimes I'll leave it as native because otherwise it will stretch the picture and make it look a bit naff. But most of those I leave as they are. Depending on the game that you're using, some of those might need changing. I've never ever changed it. In terms of texture thing, but like that changes it depending on you move it. I never really ever move those, but like I said, might be necessary. It could be useful to turn the show statistics on in advance to show you what the thing is set at. Show how quick the graphics are rendering. Might be useful to do that. There we go. Enabling this option may result in a performance improvement on systems with more than 2 CPU cores. But that's only that's only if you're using Vulkan as opposed to DirectX 3D. I haven't tried any of those. But it says either use the OpenGL, Direct3D, or Vulkan. But, yeah. In terms of the aspect ratio, you could just either set it to auto or set it to stretch to window. I never usually force it to the other two because it's not worth it. I've never had an issue where that's required to do it type thing, if that makes sense. And yeah, as long as that's sent to low-end hardware, it should be fine. I don't know why you're having so many issues with it. Like I said, if you give me the list of games that you're trying to run, I could maybe try and see if there's a thing behind it. What I've also found is certain games may have issues if not all of the files are together. That's only sometimes. Just checking it. There's nothing else in. The other thing that I would recommend as well, Rod, is on the Dolphin. I think it's the Dolphin Wiki. I'll leave a link in the description for you. It gives some games people have created patches for to try and make them run a bit better. And there's also a specs guide on the Dolphin Wiki that will tell you what would be the best setup for your specific spec. So it'll say if running Intel cores, run this. Or if running AMD, run this. Usually it doesn't matter, but in your case it might mean that you have more success running the software that you want. But there was one more thing else I was meant to say. But mostly it's just down to the graphical things. Like you just have to try and and make sure you're running either the latest version or the or if it's a specific one, so like the RE3 mod, the RE3 HD texture pack comes with everything built into it. I've not tried running it with a different Dolphin emulator, different version of the Dolphin emulator engine, but it's really persistent on what you're trying to get it to run for. But if you leave me a list of the games, if that doesn't work, like the things that I showed you in the graphics settings, so changing it to DirectX 12. I know that's set to OpenGL, but ignore that. It was just I was picking things too quickly. But yeah, if setting it to Direct 3D 12, sorry. I don't know why I keep saying DirectX 12. It's because that's always what it got stuck in my head. If you set it to Direct 3D 12, you should be able to run it without any issues. If there are still issues, comment back on the video and I will try and help you. The other thing that I will suggest is in here, inside the user folder, or system, because they changed it. Originally it was user. Leave all the like games in the same place, so that it's not trying to pull the entire directory from somewhere else, because that might be putting more strain on it. I wouldn't say that it should do, but you never know with these things, and I've always tried to keep them all in one place, if that makes sense. I hope that helps. Yeah. I hope that helps anyway, dude. And yeah, like I said, if you get stuck, then message back on the video and I will try my best to help you.